of Soaking Up the Sun. I'm going to be answering the question, should I get a battery with my solar panels? So if you're new to my channel, welcome. I talk about solar and solar panels, solar savings, solar batteries, all the things renewable energy when it comes to solar power. And a little bit about me, I've been helping homeowners go solar for the last 6 years, which is kind of crazy. But this little episode or this playlist of videos is really just coming live every single day, except for yesterday. It didn't work out to come live yesterday. I don't remember why. Something came up. Oh, I had a meeting. I had a meeting and then I had baseball games with my kids. So I couldn't come live yesterday. Couldn't go live yesterday. So I'm here today and I am under the umbrella because it is hot, hot, hot here in Northern California, where I live. So I've been helping homeowners go solar, and a lot of questions come across in those conversations that I have with homeowners. They also come up on the internet. There's a lot of questions that people ask. And so, I hang out on different social media platforms and I try and provide as much value as I possibly can. One of my favorite places to hang out right now is Reddit, because people, you can kind of be anonymous and you can ask questions and you can ask advice and everything. And so I like to kind of field some of those questions from Reddit, but also from Google and different search engines. And one of the questions, that comes up often, and this applies to homeowners across the nation, of whether or not you should get batteries. One of the things that I do know that's happening more and more is that utility companies are starting to gradually do away with the one-to-one net metering. So what does that even mean, one-to-one net metering? It used to be that for every kilowatt hour that was generated by the sun, if your home didn't use it, or you had all this extra energy but nowhere to go, and you wouldn't need a battery. You could just give it to the utility company. And I say that you would give it to the utility, they would take it, and they would give you a kilowatt hour credit to use later on. So think of it like currency. And if my kids come outside, oh, okay. Okay, thank you. My kids are home early from school today, so there's a birthday present that just got dropped off. I'm helping a friend, and his daughter is at a birthday party, and he has to work. So, and it's a half day. So this is what you do as a parent. You help each other out. It takes a community, a village. So anyhow, one-to-one net metering. If you think of energy that's generated by the sun through the solar panels, think of it like currency. In other words, if you're like, all my kids are home right now. They're playing their iPads, the TV is on. Our air conditioning is not on, firstly because I need to get it fixed. But our house stays pretty cool, like really cool throughout the day, even in the summertime. And a fun fact, if you have solar panels on your rooftop, I know it sounds crazy, but they actually kind of create this radiant barrier for your home. Like, it helps keep your house cooler. So if you have solar panels over living space, it'll help keep your home a little bit cooler than if you didn't have those solar panels. Did you know that? Now you know. I don't know how much, like temperature wise, it does, but it does help because it is absorbing the sun, and it's just another barrier. So it's your attic space isn't getting so hot, your roof isn't getting so hot. And the solar panels, I talked about roofing the other day in episode 7. Solar panels actually protect your roof. So it protects it from elements and then UV rays. And if you live in a place where you get a lot of hail, I mean, I don't know about you, but I saw on the internet, I think Instagram, somebody posting a 5-inch hail, I don't even know what you call it, a hail ball. A 5-inch hail ball in Texas. I don't know what that damage would do to a solar panel, but those solar panels are very, very durable. They are tempered glass. People can walk on the panels and not break them. So like you don't want to walk on them obviously, but I think anything with a force blunt or like a force penetration might crack the panels. But obviously, you know, they're put to the test and they're very durable, but I don't know what 5-inch hail balls would do to a panel. But they do serve, they produce energy for you. They protect your roof and all that good stuff. But let's get back to net metering for just a second. So you create the energy from the solar panels. Your home isn't demanding much, but it needs to go somewhere. It can't just like hang out on your rooftop. Hello, Tala. You can't, you has to go somewhere. So it goes to the grid. They're gonna give you a kilowatt hour credit and they're gonna bank it in your net metering account or your utility account with the utility company to be able to use at a different time of day or week or month of the year. So you're putting in credits and then you're debiting. And of course, in the summertime, you're going to make more credits than you do in the wintertime. So there was this old way of doing solar, an old way, a year ago, in California at least. You could bank all your kilowatt hour credits. You didn't need a battery. You could then debit from your credits in a year's time, a calendar year. And the utility company would just, if you overproduced and you had credits, you could debit from them, you know, when the sun went down. There is a tricky thing though. Some utilities have it so because they move homeowners over to time of use or peak and non-peak. The value or the cost of non-peak versus peak hours is different. So you need to check your utility company and the net metering agreement to find out how are they actually, is it a straight 1-for-1 or is it a 0.85 for 1 or 0.75 and 1? So like, or let's just do 0.45 and 0.55. So if you generate a kilowatt hour credit during non-peak and that retail value is 45 cents, but then you use it at nighttime during the peak hours, it's 45 cents or 55 cents. It's not a true 1-to-1 ratio. So you have to check your utilities net metering policy to see how it actually works. That is what it is under NEM 2.0 in California. But more and more states are moving away from the net metering, and they're starting to move it to where you need storage. And that's really what I wanted to get to here in California, because I help a lot of homeowners in California. But if you live outside of the state of California, if you live in Hawaii, you have to have batteries because there is no net metering. California doesn't have the net metering like we used to. So now if we generate power and we have excess, we actually don't want it to go to the grid. We want it to go somewhere and store it for later on because of the net metering has gone away. So now you need to put batteries in your, install the batteries with your solar system. But the question is, for the people that don't live in California, do I really need a battery? Well, if you don't have a battery and if you don't have a backup battery and you still have net metering, that's great. But if the power goes out, if the grid goes down, your solar equipment will shut off too. It'll shut down just like you were powered, tied to the grid still, because there is a safety mechanism, a rapid shut off safety mechanism in your inverter box that shuts down the power supply so that it doesn't go out to the grid and injure someone and keep, if they shut down the grid for a reason, like there's a down powered line or something. I'm looking at a power pole over here. If it goes down and you have power flowing through those electrical lines, the utility lines, you don't want a lineman or woman get injured by power coming through, energized power through the utility lines. So it knows to shut down the solar system unless you have a backup battery. And you need a backup battery, not a self-consumption battery, because self-consumption batteries are like the battery manufacturer's response to NEM 3.0 and what's happening with all these utility companies starting to do away with the net metering. So self-consumption batteries are a good thing if you never have power outages, but most people don't know when they're going to have a power outage, which is why it's always a surprise. You're always, equipped with, some people have generators. And if you have a generator, you technically don't need batteries if you have net metering. But if you have solar and you don't have a battery and you live in California now and you're going to get solar and you're thinking of a battery, you need batteries, and you may need multiple batteries. But if you live in a state where you do have frequent power outages and you still have net metering, you technically wouldn't need a battery, especially if you have a generator, because the generators are going to kick in. When you have solar and a generator, there's some additional electrical work that you need to do, especially if it's hardwired to your home. And this is just a heads up. It's not a generator conversation, but you need a transfer switch installed on your electrical panel. And so if you have one of those big whole home Generac generators and you're now thinking about getting solar and it's hardwired into your home and into your electrical panel, you need to have an automatic transfer switch installed at the time of your solar system being installed if you have an existing generator. This is because if the power goes out, the generator is going to sense that and kick in, and you don't want that generator back, frying your inverter and all of that, sending power to the solar equipment. The only thing that you need to do is brush the hair. Oh, well, I'm so sorry that my hair is kind of messy. It is what it is. I'm outside. It's a little breezy. So yes. So if you do get solar and you have a generator, a whole home backup generator, make sure you ask for the transfer switch. It will not be automatically included. So it's an added cost. If you get a generator and you have a battery and it's a backup battery, you're going to also have to get a transfer switch installed. So those are just some things to be thinking about. But do you need a battery? I think if you want a complete system, you should get solar and a battery. And I think people should get backup batteries. Maybe I'm a little weird about that, or not weird, but maybe I just have a strong opinion about it. But I think if you're already going to go through the effort of getting a battery installed, just spend the extra couple $1,000s more to get the backup mode too. So self-consumption and backup, because like where I live in Northern California, we have wildfires. And if there is a wildfire that happens and it's close to the substation and everything, they're going to shut down the grid. They have rotating, or if there's a rolling blackout or brownout because of too much demand on the utility, on the electrical system, or on the grid. They will do rolling brownouts to help with the demand, because they don't want to fry up their grid. So that being said, it is smart to have a battery and a full backup battery if that's the case. You have peace of mind too. Like when we went through a 5-day power outage, this was I think back in 2019, 2020-ish. The power did not get re-energized for 5 days, and it was not expected, and it was bad because people were losing their medication, they were losing their food. Imagine losing food now with the way inflation is, like how expensive food is. I mean, the news stories were of all the people that had lost their food and everything in their freezer, and it's all they had for the month. I mean, anyhow, if you can get a battery, get a battery. If you're going to lease a system, you can lease a solar system with a battery, and it's a fixed cost for that lease for the battery. So it's worth it. It's worth it. It's just like insurance. You don't want to pay for insurance. You sometimes don't think you need insurance until you do. And that's the same idea as a battery, especially if you still have net metering. So there is that. There are different kinds of batteries, manufacturers' batteries and things like that. Pros and cons to the AC coupled, pros and cons to the DC coupled, but I don't really want to get into the technicalities of that. There are other YouTubers on here that go into that, but I will tell you that a DC coupled battery is much more efficient as a battery with your solar system than an AC coupled battery. And examples of AC coupled batteries are the Tesla Powerwall. In-phase is an AC coupled. I believe Franklin Whole Home is an AC coupled battery. Solar Edge, LG. I feel like Duracell is a battery manufacturer. I don't know how much they're doing in the homes. Those are DC coupled. They're just much more efficient in their way that they're storing the energy in your home and then providing it when you need it. So, so there's that. The other thing that I do know is a DC coupled battery cannot be charged by the grid. So AC coupled batteries, I believe, can. So if you know that there's a storm coming up or something like that, and you get that warning, like when there's a storm warning, sometimes if my battery is low, which it rarely does, because we got it for peace of mind and for avoiding an MPU, we get those messages of, we're going to put your battery into backup mode and not self-consumption mode. It'll automatically switch it over. I imagine, and maybe I should test this out. Well, I don't know, because I don't know when there's going to be power outage. But I imagine if there was a storm warning, and that the battery would probably recharge from the grid. So there's that. With a DC coupled battery, you cannot do that. So there is those benefits of either or. It's efficiency, or it's just different reasons why you would get the different battery types. Sometimes it's what the installer that you're working with has available. So there is that piece of it. There's a lot of batteries on the market. So do your research, figure out what you want, but I do know a lot of installers are going to stick to the main batteries that have great warranties, that have track record and all of that. So with new technology, there's always, I have a Tesla. I did not buy the very first several years of Tesla. Oh, there's a big fat bumblebee right there. I waited for the technology to figure itself out and prove itself, and here I am with mine, and I'm very, very happy with it. So, yeah, I think that when you're getting a solar system, just know, if you live in a place with net metering, if you don't have a backup battery, or if you have solar and solar just a self-consumption battery, your system will not work in a power outage. If you have a power outage and you have a solar system and a battery, doesn't matter if it's, it doesn't matter. You have what's called essential loads. And there's usually a sub panel with essential loads, meaning your refrigerator, lights, different things that you determine at the time of installation. That is the panel. That's the sub panel that is going to be provided energy in the event of a power outage, unless you have a battery like a Tesla Powerwall, or a Franklin Whole Home, or something like that, where you have all the things that are going to be backed up. The whole home can't be backed up unless you have multiple batteries, but breakers 30 amps and less can be backed up. But when there's a power outage, you don't actually want to use all your power. You want to still go in conservation mode, because if it's in the middle of the night or it's 8 p.m. at night, like in November, that battery is only going to carry you until the battery, like if it's a 13.5 kilowatt battery, it's only going to provide you 13 to 13.5 kilowatt hours of energy before it shuts off, and then you're without power until the sun comes back up. And if the grid is still down, the solar system's providing power to your essential loads and recharging your battery. So unless you have multiple batteries and a whole home backup battery system, you probably don't want to run your life like normal until the power is restored. And your app will tell you when the grid's restored. So those are my thoughts on, should you get a battery with your solar system. If you live in a state, the conclusion is this: if you live in a state with net metering and it's still like a one-to-one thing, you can get away without having a backup battery or a self-consumption battery. In fact, you don't really want the self-consumption battery because you have net metering, meaning you generate the power, whatever you're not using goes into the grid. They give you a kilowatt hour credit that you can debit from later on. If you live in a state that doesn't have net metering, you at least need solar plus self-consumption battery. And if you don't ever want to be without power, no matter what, get the full backup batteries. And that is my opinion and what I would advise homeowners to do. If you have a generator, a whole home generator, and you live in anywhere where there's, could be a down, power outage, your generator is going to kick in for you. Just make sure you have a transfer switch installed onto your electrical panel. If you don't have net metering, the generator is you're not going to want to run your generator. You're going to want to use storage. So I hope that is really helpful and clear to you guys. Let me know if you have any questions about this. If you are interested in a solar proposal or conversation about solar for your home and what's right for you, reach out to me at JamieGreene, and we can have an appointment. And guys, I set up a referral page on my website. So if you know people, if you already have solar, because I know a lot of you guys watch my channel and you already have solar. And the reason why I know that is because you guys ask questions and I already know you're installed. If you want to refer people to work with me and they go solar, you can go to that referral partner. It's a button at the bottom of my website, and you can submit referrals to me. And if they go solar with me, then I'll compensate you with a referral payout after they have installed their solar system. So I'm really excited to announce that. And yeah, make sure to subscribe to the channel and share this out with other people. We're not yet there at the summertime rates, but they are going to increase. They're going to switch over utility rates from winter to summer, I think like this billing cycle, if not May, June, but I think it's usually May. So you will see an increase in your rates if you live in the state of California very, very soon, and it's going to be even more. So I want to help you guys alleviate that stress from your life of not knowing, even if you went solar for just having that consistent payment, if you did a lease or financed it, which a lot of people will finance or do the lease, at least you have a fixed monthly payment for your energy, and there's no question about it. In California, you're going to have a little bit of a net bill in the winter time from November to February, but for the most part, for the rest of the year, you're likely not going to have a net bill ever so slightest if it's a cloudy or rainy day, but it still beats paying full price to the utility company that continues to raise your rates. So I hope this was helpful. I will see you guys on Monday. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope you guys are enjoying. Let me know if you're enjoying this series of Soaking Up the Sun and me answering questions. And if you have questions you want answered regarding solar and storage and anything regarding solar, roofing, electrical stuff to go solar, put them in the comments and I'll answer them on my upcoming lives. So happy Friday, stay safe, and talk to you later. Bye.